Welcome to Career Insights. The Career Insight series features local industry professionals engaged in conversation with students and recent graduates about career planning and job opportunities in Polk County, Florida.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Polk Vision's Career Insights. In today's segment, we are going to be discussing veterinary sciences. But before we begin, my name is Naomi Boyer, and I'm with Gnome LLC. I focus on educational transformation, and I'm also the chair of the Polk Career Academies Advisory Board. And with that, I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves.
Mitzi Vargas, and I'm a veterinarian here in Polk County for 25 years, 27 years practicing. I do integrated medicine, which is for small animals, which is acupuncture, chiropractics, rehabilitation, as well as Western medicine.
Rachel, will you introduce yourself as well?
I'm Rachel. I'm currently a certified veterinary technician at My Pets Animal Hospital. I actually graduated from George Jenkins back in 2017. I was in the Veterinary Academy and received my veterinary assistance certification there as well. Then I continued on to Hillsborough Community College to then receive my certified veterinary technician accreditation. So I've been working as a vet tech for almost a year now. I actually got my certification back in October. So I'm kind of fresh to this, but I have had a lot of experience.
Alyssa, please introduce yourself.
I'm Alyssa Chansey. I'm a current student at George Jenkins High School. I'm a senior. I'll be graduating this year. And next year in the fall, I'll be attending the University of Florida, hopefully towards getting my pre-vet and then my veterinary medicine. I'm an intern. I'm in the Vet Academy program, and I'm working towards my veterinary assistant certification right now.
I'm really interested in hearing from you, Dr. Vargas. What interested you? What attracted you with going into being a veterinarian?
It was something born from my love for animals. So I was 7, and when I had a clear epiphany, this is all I'm gonna do in life. And so I didn't go the technician route. I just went pre-vet route, like Alyssa's doing. I did volunteer with the veterinarian of my town in Puerto Rico, the biggest, I guess, the old established clinic there. And so I was just volunteering and really a pain in the butt of that vet. Rest in peace, he passed away several years ago, but it was a very kind person, very great role model, and he was very interested in my future. And so it was somebody that was a mentor early on, and wrote the letter for admission for vet school. And so it really helped me in my establish a career. So I think that if you don't have a program, at least have a mentor, somebody that is there kind of cheering you on and helping you on. I went to Miami and I practiced for 2 years, came here to met my now husband and came here to visit his parents and fell in love with Winter Haven. One weekend in November and went to Cypress Gardens when Cypress Gardens was open, and everything was so beautiful. The people were so nice. And I just thought, what am I doing in Miami? So it was in a whim, decision. And we just moved here and I established the hospital in a really small area. And then it just grew, word of mouth. And then 5 years later, we did a 5,000 square building. And 5 years later, it was just too small. So we did a 10,000 square expansion. And now that's it. No more expansions. And this is it. So the community has really received me very well. And the career proved to be something that how I envision. And being my own boss has been just the best thing that happened to me.
But you've added another layer to the veterinary science, and that's the entrepreneurship. What other skills did you need to develop to move beyond? I mean, veterinary science itself is to become a veterinarian, it's a very rigorous curriculum, academic pathway, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about the rigor in that. And then what additional learning did you have to have on top of that to be able to have your own vet practice and your own facility and be the entrepreneur that you are?
I think that Rachel would agree that in school, you get the degree and it's basically they're giving you a base. They cannot give you everything. It's impossible. And I read somewhere that you need to be at a job for 10 years to develop the level of a master degree. So to master your craft, you need to be at it a minimum of 10 years. And I believe that with all my heart, because I really see a difference past 10 years of doing the same. You get exposed to certain situations and you learn by exposure, by doing. But it is a long road because the situation doesn't present itself that many times, right? So obviously, in vet school, it was rigorous and it was harder for me because of the language barrier. I had to, learn it kind of like twice, Spanish and then English, and then until it would mesh. But it was very difficult. And to get into vet school, think about it. There's about 31 accredited schools in the United States versus 289 the last time I checked of med schools. So if you decide to go for physician, way easier to get into vet school than it is for a vet school, because the amount of applicants per seat is about 500, especially if you go to a really good university. Now, Alyssa has a chance because she's a Floridian. So Floridians, definitely are preferred to go into UF. And if you do your undergrad in UF, I think that you have really, your chances are stacking for you. So, but you still have to be like a super student in pre-vet, they don't look at anything under 385, GPA of 385. I mean, you have to have a super duper, experience. So then the experience comes into play. So it's the whole package. It's been all self-motivation to learn more, to be better at what I'm doing, to perfect my craft. And they call it the art of veterinary medicine for a reason. Is also the practice of veterinary medicine, but you have to be at it constantly. And not just because you have to have the continuing education, that the minimum continuing education that the state requires to maintain your license, but I feel that it should come from inside. I want to learn, I want to know more, learn more. And so it is very, I think, rewarding to just go for what you love and know that you're the best at what you love to do. So I feel that that's my motivation, my fuel that motivates me to continue to learn and everything. And I hope that you don't think that when you get to vet school, Alyssa, that that's the end all, because that's just one step.
Dr. Vargas, what would you say are the most important outside of the technical skills that someone can bring to you that would make you want to hire them?
Always ask for help if you don't know, because we're not selling genes, we're dealing with lives. So there's one point where confidence, if you're doing something and you don't know how to do it, then the confidence is not going to get you there. But when you're communicating with the clients, they need to know that you are in a position of knowledge, and imparting that knowledge to them, that you know what you're talking about. So in that sense, definitely the confidence you needed. And communication, a lot of veterinarians come to this profession because they love animals, but they don't like people. And that to me is the reason why this profession is the number one in suicides. And it is a sad statistic, very sad statistic, and it's not getting better. It's actually getting worse in women more than men. And I feel that it is partly because they they didn't understand what they were going for. So one thing, if you're very scientific minded and you're in private practice, that might not be a good fit for your skills or for your for what you can bring to the game. So the good news is that veterinary medicine is such a wide field that you can have a very introverted person that is just totally lacks social skills, be a successful pathologist, for example, veterinary pathologist, and use their degree in that way. Or you can have a very outdoorsy person that can't stand being inside of being an USDA field inspector or something like that, and have joy and using that degree to the point that it gives you joy and you want to show up for work and you're using the skills and all that sacrifice that you got to get the degree. So a lot of people, to me, I look for experience. Very hard. Like when I'm looking for somebody, technicians, we actually want at least 1 year of experience. And the reason is that it's like, are you in the right place? I want to at least, it takes about 6 months to work your nuts, to like, okay, well, now I have the degree, I'm doing this. Is this what I really want to do? Am I fit? I'm a fit for this kind of work? Because till that point, most of it was theory. And so when it comes to practice, you need to know, is this what I really want to do every day for the rest of my life? And so both Rachel and Alyssa had a big opportunity with this academy because you get to learn early on, and they require for you guys to volunteer and to get some hours of experience. And that's, to me, key. How was that not important years past is where we are going right now in this problem that we're having.
Rachel, I want to hear a little bit about your academy experience and how you felt that prepared you for the job role you're doing now. That's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is talk to us a little bit about internships or hands-on experience.
So in the academy, I actually learned quite a bit in just all of the 4 years. Your first year, you do some book work and things like that, just getting the knowledge. You then continue on to the next few years, learning the hands-on. We actually, I think it was my senior year, we actually started working with the SVCA, and we actually had pets come to us, to the school. We had kennels, we'd walk them, we'd learn restraints. We did practice on lots of stuffed animals as well, CPR on them, venipuncture, those types of things. So we kind of got the skills there as well, learning those different types of diseases, etc. So in those 4 years, you did get a lot of knowledge. And then also during your senior year, you would go out and you would practice, get your experience internship wise. I actually did mine at a general practice. So I was actually able to see all of the things that you would normally do in a regular day, all of your appointments. I even got to go into a surgery as well and kind of watch and observe the technician in there, the veterinarian performing the surgery. So the academy got me a good foot right into what I was getting into. I got to see the daily life of what everyone did in the vet industry. So it was a good example. And I did get quite a few, you're required to get quite a few hours. So I was able to get those and a lot of experience. So I definitely appreciate the Academy for letting me see what I was getting myself into and also getting my foot in to at least say going to trying to get a job. I at least have my CVA. I've had so many hours and experience. So that way I was able to get that experience. So it was good.
So you mentioned the CVA. Is that an industry is that a certification of some sort?
Yeah, that's the certification of veterinary assistant.
And you did that in high school?
I did that in high school. I took the final exam, basically at that end of the 4 years, your senior year, you take it at the very end, and I passed. So at that point, that's whenever I become the certification.
Fantastic. That gave you, as you moved on to Hillsborough Community College, you then had a threshold that perhaps others who are coming in did not have an experience.
Exactly.
Correct.
And Alyssa, I think you have a question for Dr. Vargas.
So I was wondering, because I'm leading towards the similar path you did, about schooling, if you had like any certain tips, especially like a pre-vet veterinarian route going into college, if you had any tips for me.
So if it takes tutoring, if it takes taking a really difficult class under the summer, don't waste your summers. Use them for either taking the hard elective, so you will have focus all your attention on it, or to use them also to take experience. So just to, even if it's at a shelter, the shelters, to me, they're always looking for volunteers. So that's an easy way in to get in there when you're in Gainesville, and volunteer also at the Gainesville, a small animal center. So they probably have volunteer opportunities in there. I would definitely have the more they see your face around, Alyssa, the more they remember you, the more they're like, oh, when they put a face to the application, you know, they know, oh yes, this girl has been around. I see her all the time. She knows people. And communication, you're not far off there. I mean, you have to be a great communicator. Your patient doesn't speak. And so you have to gather all the information from the owners. So you have to be a good communicator. Um, and psychology, I'm telling you, I have another degree. It's from the School of Hard Knocks on Psychology 101. It's because you have to talk to the owners, you have to manage emotions, you have to do a lot of things. But to enter into vet school, you gotta be like super positive, super, approachable, and try to forge networks. The networking is great. Any activity that the school throws, be there. Show your face around, and just focus on the hardcore clinical science, because that's what they look at.
So Rachel, I think you also had a question.
I was wondering if you had a favorite specialty, because I've even thought about going back to school and learning something specific.
I've gone back and taken many classes on several things like business, dentistry, because I didn't have any dentistry education, to be honest. 2 weeks is not enough. And so I have taken advanced dentistry classes. I've flown to advanced dentistry. And if you're going to stay in the veterinary technician field, a specialization is very important. You can actually break the salary cap of like a regular, go to probably $25 an hour or more if you specialize. And what I would recommend would be to specialize in dentistry, because 70% of all the pets need dentistry care. And I guarantee you 70% of all vets hate dentistry and have no knowledge on it. You come in with that specialization, they will go like, yes, a master. There are only two that I know of. The dentistry is, veterinary technicians that have the dentistry certification in Florida. So, I mean, they are sought after. They are even dentistry education, extra education, even if you don't get the certification, but, pursuing it. So I know for sure that the other one would be, the surgical technicians are very useful too. And they often are the team leader, because surgery is where you're dealing with the life or death situation. You have to be even temper person that can handle emergencies. You have to be good with math. You have to help calculate drugs and things like that. So I feel like those are the two that if I see somebody applying here at CVT that has that specialization, they definitely go to the top of my pay scale, number one, but also consideration. I'll do whatever to lure that kind of technician here.
We didn't talk much about, the size of the animals that you care for and the different types of animals that I know there's different types of veterinary medicine. There's so much more to discuss, but
Yeah.
we are coming up on the end of our time here. And I want to thank all of you, Alyssa, Rachel, Dr. Vargas, for being with us today and for joining us for this segment and sharing with the academies. To our listeners, if there's any follow-up questions that you might have for our panelists, contact information will be provided on the closing slide. And with that, I'm going to say a very special thank you for being with us today. We're appreciative that you were listening in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.